So if you're like me and you're up to your eyeballs in work and just life, and you've gotten away from doing just little tiny practices to care for yourself, like yoga, like a full-on yoga practice, that has not been a part of my life for a few weeks. So full-on yoga has not been happening for me. And but I do small things every day to try to compensate that and to just keep some kind of practice going, just enough, because the hardest thing to do is to go from doing zero to something. So what you want to do when it's just too hard to do something big or like your ideal is do the tiniest possible version of it. So for yoga, it could be anything. It could just be yoga is mostly breath. So it could be just taking a few deep breaths. You could do some square breathing where you breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts, and hold before you take a breath, another 4 counts. So it's you kind of imagine that you're tracing a square in your mind's eye, 4 counts each. If you want to do some kind of movement, something or other, um, you could do literally anything. It could just be one tiny thing. It's that tiny thing is to prevent you from doing zero. And so often, I think it's the way our culture is. You think, well, if I can't do my ideal, I'll just can't even do it, and you just throw up your hands. I mean, that would be like the way I used to be for sure. But mountain pose, just getting your spine aligned, you can just like I'm just standing in a very cluttered office right now. I've got work all spread around me. And for me, just planting your feet on the ground about hip width apart, or some people keep their feet together, do whichever one feels right to you and kind of balancing, like kind of rocking around on your feet so that you find kind of the center. So you're not too far back, you're not too far forward, you're not pronating your feet either way. Just kind of feel around on the floor, see if your feet can be balanced, like you're pressing down on all parts of your feet equally. And then palms facing out. Or if that just feels too weird, you can do something else. You can stand like this, but you can hold your hands down by your sides, palms out. And the hands aren't just loosely hanging there. You're activating your feet, your legs through your hips and your torso. You're starting to activate and kind of remind your body to be activated and not just slack and all over the place. It helps you realign your spine so that it can balance itself out because your body will do a lot of the work for you. You're just reminding it what to do. So it could be palms out, hands down at the side, not overly tense and locking elbows, but activated, not just hanging totally. And then kind of activating your legs, noticing what's going on with your hips. You can kind of wiggle your hips around just to, again, it's like your feet, you're finding center, like where are my hips? We usually favor one hip, so one's usually riding up, especially for women, I think. So find out where is center? How could you not let one side ride up? And then activate your torso, and then start to notice about your shoulders, the same thing as your feet and your hips is one. I definitely favor one. One tends to ride up. So you just kind of find your center. And it's just reminding your body to do that. And then head up and back. You can bring your chin in just a little. And it's like a string is coming out of the top of your head, going straight up to the ceiling. And just doing that tiny, tiny, tiny set of movements can keep you practicing your yoga. And then you add in a square breathing, just go once around the square. It prevents you from doing nothing. And then it's easier to hop back into doing more and more and more. Whereas if you just default to nothing and say, oh, I can't even, that's not enough, that's not good enough. That's usually what we're thinking. That's not good enough. So I'm not even going to bother with that. But that's not true. That's not true. Nothing could be further from the truth. So just do something every day, even though maybe your life is super swamped right now. Just do something. All right. Take care.